So welcome everyone to June. I know. I'm speechless. June. Year's nearly halfway gone already. And I know for half of the people in the room, it's hot. And for the other half of people in the room, it's not so hot. Unless you're in the northern part of Australia. But yeah, good to see you all. Wonderful to be here for another forum. Love these. I just love them. I love catching up with you guys and just getting inspired and hearing where you're at and what you're up to and what you're doing and yeah. Jonathan, is this your first forum? I think it is, isn't it?
It is, yes, correct.
So let's put you straight under the spotlight.
Sure.
Everyone, this is Jonathan. He's in Canada, and you might, if you've been listening to any of my podcasts, I did one with Jonathan. He's got a pretty amazing story, but I'll let him introduce himself just very quickly. And he's just started on the journey of writing his first book. So welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks. Yeah. I live in a city called Red Deer in the province of Alberta. So western part of Canada, just on the east side of the Rocky Mountains. So all those tourist brochures you might see of Canada with these beautiful teal colored lakes and snow-capped mountains, that's kind of in my backyard. So kind of take it for granted that I live in this really, really beautiful part of the world, but it is amazing. I am married to an Aussie from Geelong. So we've also lived in Australia.
Justine's from Geelong too. Give a wave, Justine.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah. So live on Orbit Drive in Whittington there. So there you go.
If you know. Around the corner from me.
Okay. There we go. A small world it is. I'm a nutrition and weight loss coach. I focus on behavioral psychology and really human connection or human compassion in working with people. So we go beyond nutrition. So had a crazy life story that will probably come out in the book that I'm writing, or at least elements of it will that fit with the theme of the book. So excited to be here.
Good on you, mate. Welcome. And Rosemary, you've been there at a forum before, haven't you? You were at the last one, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So Rosemary's new and just again started on her journey. How's it going, Rosemary? Let's hear from the newies to start with.
It's been a bit slow the last couple of days for sort of unexpected reasons, but generally speaking, I feel as though I'm becoming more immersed in the process of it all.
Good. And you're creating something wonderful, aren't you? You're giving birth, isn't that what we said?
That's right.
To this incredible story, inspiration, which is awesome.
Giving birth is usually painful, so and the writing of the book is as well.
So let's give it a new name, hey? Awesome. Oh, good. Wonderful. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Eddie, how's things?
Things are good. Welcome, mate. Welcome. So before we start, I mean, we've started, but anyone want to share thoughts or updates or achievements or breakthroughs, or let's start with some really exciting news. Who's got exciting news to share? Okay, Paula. Let's start with Paula, and then we'll go to Jonathan.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep. Hello.
Hi. Welcome, everyone. Well, my update, which was a surprise to me, I did enter into a competition of children's. It was an anthology with the theme of magic spells and whatever. And I submitted a short story and also a poem, and they both got accepted.
Awesome.
Congratulations. I know, I'm so thrilled.
And what does that mean?
I've submitted before and not got in, and this was a totally new thing. I thought, I'm not going to get in, but I'll submit. And it was such a surprise and a thrill, and it just boosts your confidence. And it's going to be, the book launch is in October this year. So it's really like something. So
you've got a poem in a book.
Yeah, a poem in an anthology. It's called Anthology Angels, and she submits like each time she does a book anthology. Her name's Michelle Worthington. She's a children's author, and she submits an anthology, maybe once a year with a different theme, and then the money goes to various charities. So it's quite good, and it's good for aspiring writers and authors. And I focus on children. So yeah, and the poem was just short and sweet and silly, and yeah, about Winnie the Witch.
Winnie the Witch. Well, that's great news, Paula, and I hope that now builds your belief in you, because you said you submitted it but didn't expect anything to happen. Well, now I hope you will start to expect things to happen from now on.
Yeah, that's a lovely way to do it, because I think when you don't expect, you're already putting yourself down and getting negative energy, like giving yourself negative energy. So
well, when you don't expect, and it's a very, very powerful mindset, expectation, because when you don't expect, you won't follow through. You won't persist. You won't, if you get a rejection, you'll go, oh yeah, I knew that would happen, rather than stuff it. I'm going to keep going and keep submitting. So that expectation is a critical mindset. That is the only reason I'm sitting here today with you guys is because of a crazy, illogical, naive expectation. When I wrote my first book, there would be a bestseller. That's what I expected. I thought, well, I'm not going to waste my time doing this if it's not going to be a best-selling book. And I don't know why I expected that, but I just did. And so here we are. So that's a very powerful lesson, Paula, and congrats. So just, you're good enough. Yeah, you're all right.
Yeah. And it makes
you don't need to now debate it anymore, because in your head, I know and we all go in this, can I do it? Am I good enough? Well, now you know, you've had the validation. So make sure you hold on to that. Yeah. Every time you get a little knockback or a rejection or whatever, you come back to this moment and go, well, I had a poem and an anthology accepted. I'm good enough, and keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
I think you can submit to other competitions, because I'm very interested in poetry, and I've written a lot, and I was thinking of like getting a poetry collection together, like just getting all my poems together, looking at which ones I'd like in a collection. So that's just another thought now, and I think, I can work on that.
Good. It's opened up a whole lot of opportunities for you. So well done. Jonathan, short thoughts, sharing. Early stages.
Well, I just think it's cool that I'm more than 600 words into my introduction, but what's also cool about it is, it just feels like it's a matter of time, really. And it feels like the book is already like in me, and it's just a matter of making the time each day to sit down and write, which I've done. But what's also kind of cool is exploring my own origin story. I'm gonna have to go and interview my parents and get some more details about it, because I was born at 26 weeks at home and wasn't expected to live. And so just kind of getting some more ideas from them and what actually happened on that sort of fateful day when I arrived in the world a lot earlier than expected.
Wow, mate, you would have been tiny little thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, just 2 pounds, 1 ounce. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they didn't have an incubator waiting for me at the hospital, because they thought I'd be dead by the time they got there. So it turns out I'm a fighter. So yeah.
Well, we know that, don't we? We already know that about you.
Yeah.
Well, I do anyway. And if you've listened to what was that podcast called, mate? It was called Compassionate Awareness, I think it was.
Probably, yeah.
Listen to it and listen to this man's story. You'll it's amazing. That's great, mate. Good on you. Hi, Felicia.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Great. We're great. I think we're great. Well, I'm great. Talking for everyone here. Good to see you. Anyone else got any thoughts? Anything they would like to share? Any exciting news, breakthroughs, turning points?
I'd just like to let Chris know that there's something on the wall behind him that looks a bit concerning.
It looks like a big spider. Is that what you're saying, Rosie? It is a big spider. That'll chomp your head off, that one.
Yeah.
I was just going to say to Felicia, I have to chuckle a little bit, because I have no idea where the phrase "by Felicia" comes from, but whenever I hear the name, that phrase comes to mind. So I'm actually just curious, Felicia, if you ever get that.
What is it, Jonathan?
There's a phrase. It must be from a movie, but it's like "by Felicia," and it's like a sort of like a brush off or something like that. I have no idea where it comes from, but whenever I hear the name,
I will tell you. So, Jonathan, you're like the 900 billion, 900 million.
Yeah.
To say that and then say, have you ever heard that before? So
never heard that before, right? Yeah.
No. It came from a movie back in the 90s called Friday.
Oh, okay.
It got its real notoriety later, many years later, when they did another movie. in Straight Out of, I can't remember, but it was the one that Ice Cube
Ice Cube?
did, Dr. Dre and his son.
Straight
and it
out
was
of
the
Compton.
Straight Out of Compton. Look at that, Denise. Yes. So that's when it was said again, and it became a thing. It came out of the original Friday movie from back in the 90s.
There we go. I was pretty certain you might have heard it before, and I think that there's probably an entire book just in this. The number of people that have told you, reminded you of that phrase, right? You get the title of your book could be like "Bye Felicia" or "Hi
Yes.
Felicia," you know, the something like that.
I get it everywhere.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
You as well.
What else we got? Justine.
I'm 6 weeks away from launching Morpheus Publishing and my book release of my children's book.
Yay! That's awesome.
Well done.
So this week I picked the font, so that was really interesting to go through and find all the different fonts that I want in the book, and pick that. The graphic artist did a test run of it for me to have a look, and very happy with it. And so now we're up to waiting. I should have it in the next 2 weeks, all the graphic artwork done and the typesetting and everything done for it, and organizing a VIP launch night. So
Right.
that's what's happening in my world. And I've been writing, Andrew. So
Of course you have.
yeah,
I have no doubt about that.
two books.
Of course, because one's not enough.
Well, one's the podcast, because I have a podcast, and which Andrew's been on, called Resilience Mindset, and I'm doing the first edits of all the transcripts. So I used Fiverr to transcribe them all for me off the podcast, because I don't have time to do that, so I've outsourced that. And now it's a matter of just going through each one and doing my edits on it. So I'm calling that my shitty first draft, and then sending it off for someone to be edited. And then that book will be released in November. So
Wonderful.
Wow.
just in time for
You're
Christmas.
just a book machine, aren't you? Now you're a publisher. You can
aren't
publish
you?
everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've got some low content journals on the go as well, but to publish. So yeah, just follow your dream. And this all came about because I submitted to 31 publishers for my kids' book, got 5 contracts back, but none of them would do what I wanted it to do. So within a minute, had made a decision, thought of the idea, made a decision, and went, I'm going to start a publishing company. So then signed up and did a course, and there you go. So
Well, there you go. I don't know if it's everyone's dream to own a publishing company, though.
probably not.
Certainly not mine. I'm glad you're doing it.
But
Good on you.
want to publish something to contact me now. So
There you go. You've all got a publisher to submit to. Someone you know. It's not what you
brilliant.
know, it's who you know, right? See, power of these forums.
Mm,
Well done, Justine. As always, inspiring stuff.
it works. Mm.
Who else wants to share? Kat.
So yesterday for me was Friday. For some of us was Friday. And at my company, we take it in turns to post in our intranet system, because we all work remotely, a Friday fun thing that can be about anything and people then share in. So yeah, I'm trying to think. People ask like what games people are playing or what they're doing, or just like share your best IT joke. Anyway, so this week the person that posted share your side project, and by the time I got out of morning meetings and saw there was a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of subjects, and I went, fine. So I put up about my book with a couple of the photos from a couple of the activities, and also first time I'd actually mentioned to anyone that at that company what I was doing. And a very friendly company, but the reaction was way, not just nicer, but way more excited about it than I expected. Someone even bothered to write back that they very seriously wanted to know when the book was published so that they could buy a copy, and a bunch of people replied to that like me too. And even if it's even if they don't mean it, even if they don't buy it. Like it was really nice because I work with incredibly smart engineering people, so it's very, and they know who I am. Like they know how unqualified I am to be doing this book. So it was really nice to hear their take on it, and that they were excited at even the idea of it, because yeah, I haven't, since it's still in the process of being written, I haven't been overly marketing for it, facing with it yet. So, but since it's getting terribly close to the end, I thought it was a good opportunity to share. And yeah, it's, as Paul was saying, like it's always nice to have a shot of confidence on that. So yeah,
that's good. And I think it's look, I think sometimes it's difficult. Who has trouble actually admitting to people they're writing a book? Who finds that hard? Obviously, Kat. Because and I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a fear, isn't there? If you say you're writing a book publicly and you don't do it, you look stupid. Yeah, is that the fear?
Oh, if it doesn't meet up to someone, if it doesn't get public, like there's a whole bunch of just, and it's also and it can be a bit like, oh, I don't know. There's tall poppy syndrome, right? Like, oh, of course you are. You know, I don't know.
Well, who does she think she is doing?
That very that. And recall, I'm writing a book about physics and art, of which I am neither. So there's like an extra layer of poppy syndrome for me. So
yeah. So, but you know, I really want to encourage every one of you that haven't already put it out there and said, I am writing a book, to do it. And do you know what? Tall poppy syndrome, to me, that's a compliment, right? If someone's saying, you know, who do you think you are? I think I'm flipping good. That's who I think I am. I think I'm awesome, and I think I'm worthy of writing a best-selling book. The other thing is, when you publicly declare something, you sort of almost trap yourself into success to a degree, don't you? Because when you say you're going to do it and people know it, well, you know, if I say I'm going to do something, I don't want to come back in a year's time and when someone says, how's that book? Oh, no, I decided not to do that. You know, for me, that's a motivator. You know, it fills me with fear, don't get me wrong, but it keeps me moving. So if you haven't made a declaration, and I'm not saying go on social media, but I'm saying to people that are important to you, people that you know, just tell them, I'm writing a book. I'm excited.
When they say that, oh, I want to buy a copy, you need to keep their names. So start writing a list. So
credit card details.
I know that.
That's a good idea.
Don't worry. I had their traps. Like they're my colleagues. They're fine.
Start making, okay. If they say I'm going to buy a copy, say, give me your credit card details and we'll do a pre-sale.
Yeah.
As soon as it's done, I'll send you a copy. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, again, a lot of this stuff is, you know, everything we're talking about around becoming an author it's just mindset, isn't it? It really is. You know, the process of writing a book, you know, it's boring, it's easy, it's simple, it's just write. Like, you know, the stuff, just write it. But the fear, it's the fear and the anxiety and what are people going to think and what if it doesn't work and blah, 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 this noise that happens in our head. We've got to control this noise. We've got to take it by the scruff of the neck and tell it, hey, we're in control of this little amazing thing in between our ears. We're in control of it. However, we let it control us at times. So that's when you've got to be very, very careful. When you ever hear the words coming in, I'm not good enough, or I don't know if I can, or you've got to be very clear and conscious to stop it. We did, you know, and capture that and say, no, that's not me. This is me. Yeah, it's very, very powerful because every one of you, just looking who we got that's published here. Well, Justine's published and Paula's published and Cherie's published. But the rest of us are not. The rest of you guys are not. And you can do it, you know. It's 100%. Can do it.
Can I just jump in here?
Yes, please.
Because that talking about, you know, your head and the thoughts that come in. I look at what I've done so far. I'm writing a memoir, my parents' memoir, which is something my cousins wanted me to do. But just to transcribe my mother's tape, well, I've decided I've taken it the next step and I've been working on it and turning it into more than just transcription. And I was sort of thinking, well, I've done what they've asked me to. I could actually send them a copy of what I've done and they'd be happy with that. But it's really only half a book. It's only half the story. And when I feel that little negative voice coming in saying, you know what, you don't have to be doing this, you know, you should be doing other things, sorting out things, getting ready to move, whatever life throws at you. So, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going because I want to finish it. I finish what I start, and I think I've still got something to say.
There you go. I love that.
I'm committed.
Good girl.
Yeah.
I finish what I start. That's a great. I think everyone should have that up on their wall. I finish what I start. That's a great. Just so whatever you've started, no matter how long it's taking, no matter how hard it might seem, no matter how many times you feel like giving up, I finish what I start.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Christina. Anyone else want to add, share, contribute?
You were talking, Andrew, about sharing with people about writing a book, and I did that this week with a friend, and she said, well, keep it moving. I'm not going to be here forever.
There you go. There's some incentive for you. Some of you might have, who was it? There's a couple of you at John's launch last week, John Marr.
Oh, yeah.
John Marr wrote a book called Carmen's Legacy. John Marr was a man who lost his 18-year-old daughter in a car crash and, you know, absolutely tore their family apart. And he spent it was 26 years ago, he spent the last 24 years speaking in schools to teens and about road safety and love and family, and, you know, amazing guy. And, you know, it took him 20 years to write the book. And I think the thing that finally got to him, he said, look, I'm not going to be, he's in his 70s now. He said, I'm not going to be here forever. If I don't finish this and this doesn't get out there, the legacy doesn't live on, you know. And I think he used the word regret. He didn't want to live with regret. And unfortunately, so many people get to the end of their life and regret the things they didn't do. Rarely do we regret the things we did do and stuffed up. We regret the things we didn't do.
Yeah, that's right. And I think time frame's probably important. I'm starting to think I have to give myself a time frame.
A deadline, you mean, Christina? Yeah,
bit of a deadline. Yeah,
I think that's a good idea. When you get into a bit of a rhythm and you're writing, sometimes a deadline can scare people, and it can actually intimidate them. But I think once you've got a rhythm going, and I think for sure, set it. And I've done this with a lot of you, where if you sort of know how many, we can work this out pretty clearly. I mean, if your goal is to write, if you've mapped out your book and you've got, let's say, 10 chapters, and let's say each chapter's 4,000 words, just for argument's sake, so there's a 40,000 word book, yeah, and you're writing 500 words a day, as just a example, okay? So if you're writing 500 words a day, that's going to take 80 days. Yeah, does that make sense? I think that's right. Is my maths right? Anyone that's better with maths than me?
Yeah.
So you could set
3 months.
So you might give yourself another 10 days. So you give yourself 3 months. So, okay, if I just, all I've got to do is follow this plan and do this 500 words a day, that's it. And now I do that predictably by the end of, where I would start in June, by the end of June, July, August, by the end of August, start of September, it's done. And I think a deadline can be very powerful, because otherwise, and also not just the deadline, but a reward of hitting it. And also a reward, so a reasonable reward for hitting it, but also a reward for every day that you do your 500 words. Like, I think if we're not celebrating the journey, and you've all heard me talk about win the day, you know, the only way you'll get to, you know, that deadline is by winning the day. If you don't win the day, but by having the deadline, I guess it puts more energy in the day, doesn't it? Yeah, because if you miss a day and you don't have a deadline, it's not a big deal. There's no deadline. Yeah, but when you've got a deadline, well, I can't miss a day. So I think a deadline's a good idea, Christina. and for some of you, depending on where you're at and whether you feel ready for setting a deadline. And if you do, and you want help with setting a deadline, reach out to me. We'll chat. We'll do some numbers. We'll make it very mathematical, very simple, based on a number of words per day, based on an estimated number of words for your book. We can work out exactly how long that will take.
40,000 words. How many pages would that be?
Around about 70.
No, a bit more than that, I think. I would suggest this book here is probably about 40,000 words, and there's 180 pages.
Okay, thank you.
Don't worry about pages. Pages are irrelevant.
Oh, I was thinking typed pages.
Don't worry about pages.
Not
Just worry about
pages in a book.
Words is what you want to be thinking.
Yeah.
It's about 80 pages.
I've done. Yeah.
80 A4 pages.
Well, it's 80 pages single spaced or
I've
100
done that already.
pages double spaced.
Well, single space, you're going to get about on a A4 page. How many
single
words you're going to get? About 400 words, I think, on an A4 page, aren't you? If it's single space.
300 and 400 usually.
Yeah.
On an
So,
A4.
Oh,
so
really?
therefore, 40,000 word is about 100 A4 pages, and there's probably about 1.5 book size pages on an A4 page. So you're looking at about 150 pages, I would imagine. But again, pages doesn't care.
Yeah, just sort of.
Don't give yourself a word count. Just write.
Yeah.
Because if you're always thinking of the word count, you're not going to get everything out that you want to.
Yeah,
That was the trouble. I've had 56,000 words and still haven't done enough.
Keep
Doesn't
writing.
matter.
Still
Doesn't
writing.
Doesn't matter. Just get it all out. Then you worry about you get everything out, and then if you need to pare it back, you can.
Yeah.
Or expand on it, you can.
Okay.
Everything's malleable. There's no wrong way here. Every way's right. Just keep writing. Right is right.
But if you do want to tick off a day, like when I've done mine for today, if the words doesn't work, time is another option. So word count didn't work for me, but at least 10 minutes worked really well for me. And that's how I do that. And then to Justine's point, that also releases me for the words point of view, because it actually is still progress. But as someone who loves to math shit up, I would love to have a nice mathematical calculation that would have been great for me too. But
I think I get it. But if people are wanting to set, we're talking about deadlines here. If people are wanting to set a deadline, it could need, you don't want to just go, I'm just going to pick a number out in the future. That doesn't work with a deadline.
No,
there's got to be some maths, right? There has to be some maths around a deadline. If you're writing a certain amount of time, that's awesome. But what I would do is just work out on average how many words you're getting in that period of time. So it's 15 minutes. On average, if you go over a week and you calculate how many words you've written divided by 7, that's about an average number of words. And then again, you can calculate a deadline. So I agree with what you're saying. Again, word count, pages, who cares? Just write. But when you're setting a deadline's a good thing, because when you're ready for a deadline, because it just gives it energy, it gives it purpose, it puts a bit of pressure on you, which I think that's not a bad thing. I mean, sometimes we need to kick up the backside, right? Don't we? Like, I know I do. And you can do that for yourself. But then if you share your deadline with someone, then that's...
you're committed.
Yeah, and I've spoken about this app before. Some of you might have it. It's called Habit Share. I don't know, Felicia, you've got it. Kat, I know you've got it. What it is, it's a pretty cool app. I'll see if I can find it. Where is it? Habit Share. So I don't know if you can see my phone. It's that one there with you circle the tick. So what you can do with that, you can put a habit in, whatever it is, and then a daily habit, but you can share that with someone, right? So you can get an accountability partner. So if you've got 2 people, let's say Rosemary, you and Christina say, yep, we want to get into a rhythm here. Thanks, Kat, for that. Then you both download the app and you put in write for 15 minutes a day. And then it's simple. You just tick the box. And if you've shared, and you can then choose to share with that person, when you tick the box, they'll be notified that you've actually done it. And you'll be notified when they've done it. Yeah. You can send messages to each other. So it doesn't matter where you live. So it can be quite a useful tool if you feel like you need that external accountability. It's a good thing.
It's sort of reminding me of a wedding, like by committing ourselves to people that, like, you invite people to your wedding because you want them to witness your decision and going ahead with that decision. And so revealing to others who are important to us what we're doing. And, you know, there's a bit of a parallel there, I think.
Oh, 100%. I think you want to commit to people who you know will support you, encourage you, but also not take your bullshit excuses, because we've all got them, right? Oh yeah, I was tired today. Oh, that's okay. That's not okay, right? That's not okay. We're all tired. Write 10 words. Stop being a sook. Sorry for the North Americans, you don't know what the word means. Stop being a baby. Stop being a mama's boy or girl. You know, the sookie means, oh, sookie. Yeah, thumb sucker, same sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they're the sort of people you want to share your journey with. The ones that go, great, yep, you can do it. I'm with you. I'm by your side. I'm here to help and support. But I'm not gonna make it okay for you to let yourself off the hook. You know, that's what you need, right? We all need that.
Yeah, I
you
think
you need the empathy, not sympathy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it just brought something to mind that made me smile. My husband used to say not having a deadline is like arguing with your toddlers and counting up from 1 to 10. Why would you do that? That goes to infinity. Never count up, always count down. And if you think about how much sense that makes, you know, so it just made me smile to think about that. Yeah, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. You need a deadline, you need accountability. And always count down with your toddlers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Accountability is key. There was a study done. It was really interesting. There was 10 people that 2 groups of 10 people that had very poor health situation. They were all at a doctor, and the doctor effectively said to these 10 people, look, if you don't do something, if you don't take some simple daily actions to look after your health, you may not be around very long. And he even gave them all, here's the plan, this is what you need to do, and off they go. Out of those 10, 1 out of 10 actually followed through. The next group of 10, they had an accountability partner. They had someone they need to report into, someone to encourage them, someone to support them. 8 out of 10 in that group followed through and with those things. So it just shows this incredible power of that support and that encouragement that we all need. The other one was I don't know if you've ever heard about the iced water test, standing in a pool of ice water. So, you know, you stand in a pool, see how long this freezing water, see how long you can stand there for. And when there's someone there with you supporting and encouraging, people could put up with it twice as long. So again, it just shows the power of human, you know, and Jonathan talks about this human connection and compassion. And Jonathan, I'm sure you want to add something there. Let's hear, because this is your wheelhouse, mate.
Well, you cited some really good stats, and it's when people write down something and there's specific details to it, there's a significantly, like, magnitudes of order higher likelihood you're going to be successful. You know, you go from like 10 to 20% likelihood of success to over 90% if you pair like writing it down with adding in an accountability partner. You're almost guaranteed to succeed. Like, you almost can't fail. Whereas if you try to do this on your own and sort of hide what you're doing, the likelihood of you succeeding, I mean, we're the easiest ones to like swallow our own bullshit excuses, right? Like, we're the easiest ones to fool, right? because it's in the privacy of our own head. But as soon as you connect to another human being is saying, this is what I want to do. Like when I coach somebody, compassion is a core tenet of my coaching, but ultimately it's about holding people to what I see in them. I see that you are capable of this. I see that you're able to do this. I believe in you. And so, yeah, I think connecting to someone and writing down a specific detail, like on this day, and I think it was Kat, you were talking about the math. Yeah, I have this very similar brain in that regard. I'm a former engineer. So, I'm already thinking about, okay, what am I going to, I had this sort of 3-month deadline in mind to get my first shitty first draft done. Now I'm actually going to figure out how many words a day I have to write to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, connect yourself to someone and write down specifically what it is you want to accomplish, as opposed to a vague, hey, I'd like to write this book. Cool. Get specific.
And that accountability partner, and there's a role there too. It's not just someone that says, yeah, I'll be your accountability partner. There's responsibility if you're going to be someone's accountability partner, and you've got to encourage and support, and you can, sometimes you've got to say, hey, you got to call people out, right? Like we all need calling out, don't we? All of us. We just, as you said, Jonathan, we justify in our own head why it's okay to have a day off. I'm tired, or it's been a busy day, or I'm angry at such and such. And I do it all the time. We justify in our head why, I'll give myself a day off today. Oh boy, that's dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yeah, day off always feels good in the moment, but but so you know what? Here's the other thing: is what I say to people when it comes to accomplishing goals. There's something that feels really, really good about knowing you're working towards something that's going to positively impact your life. There's, I know that I'm a nutrition professional. I've lost a bunch of weight, and I coach people to do this, but I still have like my tough days as well. But I know that the days that I am committed to, the health that I'm trying to create in my body, it's so much easier to talk about what I do than the days that I just want to lay in bed and push buttons on my phone. So there's something.
There's not much inspiring to talk about there, is there?
Committing to something, it awakens something in us.
Yeah. It does, and the days when you're lying in bed pushing buttons on your phone, but you say, no, I've got to get up and go for a walk. You're always proud of getting up. Rarely, if you stay in bed, you probably beat yourself up for the rest of the day going, I should have got up. I should have done this. And you got to be careful you don't shoot all over yourself, right? We've all heard that saying. Awesomeness. We're doing great. This is always a great conversation. I love it. Really powerful stuff. Accountability seems to be the theme for this month's forum. Anyone else want to share any thoughts or how accountability sort of help them? It doesn't have to be in writing a book, but in anything. Chris.
Yes, I have used the same philosophy just recently. A whole bunch of cousins got together decades ago, and we said all exchange numbers and everything, and we hardly ever see each other normally. We said, we must do this again. This is great. And about 25 years later, a significant birthday in the family recently, and we all got together and we said the same thing, but I said, I'll organise it.
Yeah.
You're going to hold people to account. Good on you.
So now, like you say, now that it's out there and everybody knows about it, I've got to do it.
Yeah, it is. And then it becomes exciting for everyone, right? Like they get excited about the next time they catch up and the organisation. And, as soon as you set your mind to something and you say, I'm going to do it, and you create an account, all of a sudden it goes from, can I do it? Am I good enough to, now we just got to do it, right? That difference between, the last podcast I did with the guy, he talked about the difference between anxiety and fear. The anxiety is what you get when it's unknown, right? Like he talked about he was surfing in Sydney and saw a fin, right? Fin come up, fin went in, right? And all of a sudden, he was frozen with this anger. What if it's a shark? Is it a shark? Is it a dolphin? Will it attack? Won't it attack? And he said, that's anxiety. And that freezes a lot of people. That stops people. You all know, well, anxiety is, well, what happens if this, and what about that, the unknown? But when you're then confronted with a shark, right? Now, he wasn't, thankfully. But when you are confronted with a shark, it moves. There's a shark, mouth open, teeth coming towards you, right? It moves from anxiety to fear. And in fear, you take action, right? You punch the shark in the nose. You do whatever you can. So what we're saying here, when you've got a deadline and that accountability, all of a sudden moves from anxiety. Can I do it? Am I good enough to? I don't have time for that shit. I've just got to do this now. I've got an accountability partner. I've got a deadline. So it moves it out of anxiety and into maybe a healthy fear, or a fear that moves you into action. So yeah, I think if you haven't, and a lot of you are working with me, so you've got that accountability. But if you're not, and you've got deadlines, if you've got things you want to achieve, seriously, set a deadline, find an accountability partner. Justine, and then Sheree.
Sorry, I belong to a group called the Creating Success Program, and we all have accountability buddies. And every Friday morning, I meet with mine via Zoom, and they only live around the corner. But we, rather than try and get to each other's house and that, we just hop on 15 minutes every Friday, set what we're going to do for the week, and then check in that we've done it and not to let that person down. And you get so much more stuff done. And I've been working with Andrew for a little while now, as he's my accountability partner as well. And it does make a huge difference. And it's like that deadline every week or every fortnight, whatever you're going to meet up with the accountability person on what you've done, how many words you're going to do, what your chapters you're going to do, and it just keeps you moving forward, so you don't procrastinate. And procrastination is one of the biggest killers of creativity, is when we procrastinate. But remember this, that time is our most precious commodity, and we can't buy it, borrow it, sell it, or reuse it. So be careful on what you're spending it on and who you're spending it on. And write as much as you can each and every single day, because you just don't know what the future's going to bring, and in the drop of a hat it can all change. So.
Absolutely. Thanks, Justine. That's awesome. Sheree, did you want to share something?
I like to add the fact that there's also that feeling of being validated. I like accountability because it validates what I'm doing.
Yep.
And makes me feel like I'm moving along even faster. So I just love to be validated. I like that idea. And sharing for writers is really important, because it's a very lonely profession sometimes. And we get very, knot-holed and just kind of, in our shells. So it's important to share not only just your journey, but also your work with other people, to validate what you're doing is going in the right direction. I had a young writer who's been querying, and he was really, really upset. I felt so bad for him. He's learning. He's very young. But he was writing about a 72,000 horror novel, 72,000 word. Well, I don't know about on your side of the world, but on our side of the world, that's really light. And he wasn't even getting through the agent query filters, but he didn't know that. And he was mostly upset because he didn't know that. So I'm saying, reach out to people and make sure that what you're doing, once you get to that point, make sure that you've got everything you need to proceed. If you're going to look for publishing, traditional publishing, self-publishing, just make sure you do that right, and always reach out. This is a great community, writers. So generous.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Wonderful. That's wonderful. Good. Well, as we're sort of coming towards the end of this forum, a couple of things I want to just thank everyone. I love how generous you are with your sharing. It's awesome. Some of you have met Monica Rosenfeld, a couple of times. As some of you, and also some of you know, that I've been fortunate and very grateful to be on national television a couple of times in the last couple of months, promoting Tears of Joy and promoting some stuff. So it's been very exciting. Monica's personally largely responsible for that, because she's helped me with my personal brand. She's helped me with identifying value. She's helped me writing a pitch email and a media release for my book, and she's even sort of given me a list of media contacts. So I said to Monica recently, hey, we need to do an event. So there is an event coming up called Beyond the Book. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share, and the link, I've popped the link for the Eventbrite is in the chat right now, but I'll share the screen just so you can see it, and because I'd love to invite you all to be a part of that. So let me just share the screen. Oops. Okay, can everyone see that? So that's the Eventbrite link. So it's very much around obviously writing the book, but also then beyond the book is how to leverage your book to impact more lives. So really, there's too many people that write a book that just are disappointed. Yeah, I've written a book, but didn't sell enough, or I didn't really make much money, or I didn't get much leverage, I didn't know what to do, I didn't have any time, blah, blah, blah. Again, we hear the same sort of stuff. So this event is just to really help and equip you with some tools and thoughts and strategies, not just to write a great book, but then to think beyond the book. And you'll all know that I say regularly, it's not about the book. You've got to be thinking beyond the book. Otherwise, why are you doing this? Being an author is, well, maybe being an author is the goal. It was never the goal for me. The goal for me was to impact lives. And so it's it's the same time as this. Okay, so it'll be 10 a.m. There's the date there on the 9th of July, which will be Friday, the 8th of July for the North Americans. And so, yeah, you can see that there. The other thing I want to just point out, when you go to tickets, the general admission is $49. There's an early bird price, which is $29. Now, this is Australian dollars. So for the Americans, that's a lot cheaper than that. $29 before the 2nd of July. Now, if you are a paid up current elite club member, so you're either, and you'll know, and if you're not sure, ask me, then you get to enter a promo code here, and it's guest. I think it's all capitals, yeah, and apply, and that's for you is included. Okay, so guest is the promo code if you're a current elite club member, yeah. If you're not, sorry, you got to pay $29. That's right. Not much. It's worth it. It's going to be an awesome event. It goes for an hour and a half. There's going to be some amazing content. She's a very, very talented lady in this space of building brand and media. And because the key is, when you've got a book, you want it out there. You want people to know about it, and the best way to get people to know about it is get in newspapers, get in magazines, get on radio, get on television as much as you can. So I'll be sending out more information about that, but I just want to, because we only just spoke about it this week, and Monica just sent me that link yesterday, so I just wanted to let you guys know. So jump on and get yourself booked in for that as soon as you can. Right. Now, that just also means the next forum, I would normally do every 4 weeks, but 4 weeks from today, I will be away. I'll be up in sunny Queensland, which I'm very excited about. So there'll be that's the 1st or 2nd of July. And then the following week is that event. So what I'm thinking, the next forum will be 6 weeks from today. It'll be the 15th and 16th of July. But I'll send out, you'll get all the updates and emails from me. And I'll invite you on the Facebook event page and stuff like that. So that was just a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Before we wrap this up, any thoughts, comments, final questions people would like to share? Okay, see you, Justine.
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Yeah, I just was thinking before about when we find or allow other things to get in the way of our goal, it's because we don't value that goal enough. And I believe that every one of us is a sacred part of us. And if we pay respect to that sacred part that holds the desire to do, achieve the goal, then it's more likely to happen. And the other aspect of it is, I think Justine said something about, you don't know what's going to come up. And I was thinking about the fact that Jonathan was born at 26 weeks, and I'm the mum of a baby who was born at 28 weeks. And it's helped me to recognize just how important every moment is.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think when we put those two things together, at least for me, that adds to the impetus to achieve the goal.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks, Rosemary. I mean, life is fragile, isn't it? Life is fragile and life is temporary, and we really just need to make the most of this moment, every moment we have. So I'm grateful for this moment that I've had with you guys. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful being with you as always. So we've got another forum on Monday night, Australian time. So I know that probably doesn't work for the North Americans, but for any Aussies that want to, or Americans that want to get up really early in the morning, you're more than welcome. But have a wonderful weekend, guys, and look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thanks, you too. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.